Hi, it's Alaska Granny. Today let's talk about rice. How much rice should you store? How long can you store it? Does rice go bad? What's the easiest way to store it? There are a lot of reasons to want to store and stockpile rice. It's inexpensive, it's long-lasting, it's easy to prepare. You just need some water and a little bit of cooking, and then you can have a filling meal. Plus, rice is versatile. People eat it all over the world. There's so many ways that you can prepare it. And then when you combine it with beans, that you have a complete protein. And so rice is a great long-lasting food to have as a foundation of your food storage stockpile. How much rice should you store and stockpile? If you look at recommendations, it's that we store 100 pounds per person per year. That sounds like a huge amount of food, but when you think about it, rice is very inexpensive. For example, this 20-pound bag of rice from Walmart here in Alaska is currently $11.14. And a lot of times food in Alaska is more expensive than in the lower 48 because it has to be shipped in. Plus, I recently looked over prices from, say, 2021 during the pandemic, and the price of rice was actually more at that time. So it's a bargain to store and stockpile it now. If you don't have enough rice, get some. If we look at each pound of rice, it actually makes a little more than 5 cups of food. So if you actually need to fill those tummies, a cup of rice is a reasonable serving size. The package says 1/4 cup of rice is 1 serving, but if you really look at how much Americans eat in particular, it's usually far more than that. Plus, you just want to make sure that you have extra food on hand, because what if some of it gets spilled? What if some of it gets wasted? What if you need to stretch it farther, or you want to eat it more than once a day? So having 100 pounds, which would basically give you 500 cups of prepared rice, could be something that you have on hand. And the 100 pounds of rice, if you bought it at Walmart today, would be $55.70. That is not a lot of money for food that can last you, feed you for an entire year. But then how do you store that rice to make sure that it lasts? One way I like to store it is in clean canning jars, all sizes, because then I can actually not only see how much I have, but I can check the rice over. I use a vacuum sealer on the lids, and that works well for me. But if you don't have a vacuum sealer, you can just put on the lid and it's still going to be airtight. You just want to make sure that your jars are perfectly clean and completely dry before you store your food in them. You don't want to add any moisture by accident. Another way you can store your rice is in Mylar bags. I like to get Mylar bags that are smaller sizes and have a Ziploc top. Then these also have a gusseted bottom, so you can stand them up to fill them up. Then when you get them full, you can zip it up and you can seal it. But before you seal it, you want to add a fresh oxygen absorber. When you buy oxygen absorbers, they come already sealed in plastic. Don't open it until you're ready to put them into your packages. Fill all your Mylar bags first, then open your oxygen absorbers, quickly drop them into each package, reseal any that are left. You can even put them into a small canning jar, put on the lid so that you don't waste them, because if they're sitting out in the air, within maybe 30 minutes, they're all used up. So you want to make sure that you are prepared and ready to use those oxygen absorbers before you open them. Then I have a simple hair crimper that I got at a thrift store for like $2. So after I fill up the bag, I drop in the oxygen absorber, I seal that Ziploc bag, and then you go along and you simply heat up your crimper and you just hold it on there and you melt the top so that then it has double layers of sealing. Then of course you want to label what's in it and put a date on it, because it's still food you want to use, rotate, and replace. So you want to know which is the oldest food, and that would be the food that you would use first. Now your Mylar bag could still get punctured by sitting around because it's still not a completely hard surface like, say, a jar. And so then you want to put them away, maybe in a bucket. I got buckets free at the grocery store. You go in the bakery and you ask them, and if you're polite, sometimes they'll give them to you. In fact, you might want to stand your bag in the bucket before you fill it up, because then it's going to conform more to what the bucket is than just to your counter. But if you have then smaller size bags like these, you don't have to open up 20 pounds or 50 pounds of food at a time. You can take out smaller amounts, and then it isn't going to, especially like if you're just one person, then how much rice could you eat? You don't want to have to open all of it if you just want to use some of it. So that's one reason that I buy the smaller bags. Then you would snap on your lid, label your bucket, and then make sure that you have a bucket lid wrench so that you can get these darn lids off again. They have little tabs on them, and you slide this along, and then you can pull up on the tab so you can get the buckets open. I can't get them open without this. My fingers aren't strong enough to actually get it open. And so this to me is something that I really need to have to make sure that I can access the food that I'm storing. Does rice go bad? And the answer is yes. So you always want to inspect the rice before you even bring it home from the store, because it's not airtight at the store. You want to look over the bag, look on the shelf, make sure nothing looks like webbing, like little bugs or spiders or something have made webbing nests in there. You want to look for that webbing. You want to look for any residue. You want to look for punctures on the bag. You want to see if any little bugs or anything are crawling around. And if you see any of those signs of infestation, don't buy rice at that store. I would go to a different store, because you don't want to start battling with infestation with your freshly purchased food. We want to make sure that we don't have any of that in our food. Then after you've stored your rice for a while, if you want to know if it's still fresh, one thing you can do is smell it. Does it smell neutral or maybe a little starchy? Then it's perfectly fine. It's still good to eat. So if you smell anything musty or sour, likely moisture has gotten into your rice and then it has gone bad. I wouldn't eat it if it smells musty or sour. I would dispose of it. Then you want to look at the appearance of your rice, and that's why I like the jar. You can spin it around. You can make sure that nothing looks clumpy, nothing looks like it has mold in it, nothing looks yellow or gray. It's easy to inspect it if it's in a jar. If you put it into a Mylar bag and into a bucket, you can't really inspect it. However, you want to make sure that you store your jars in a dark environment, because cool, dark, and dry. The bag is already dark. The bucket is already dark. The jar is not, so you need to make sure that you store it in a dark place so that because the light will ruin your food. So look for any moisture, look for any clumps, look for any mold. Does anything look yellow or gray or off? Then it's probably gone bad and you don't want to eat it. That's another reason to have a little bit of extra in case something happens. Everything doesn't work perfectly, and so having a little bit of extra helps ensure. The reason we have our food storage is lifestyle insurance, that we have enough food to eat. We have the food set aside that can feed us and keep us going in hard times. Then it's important that you store your rice as airtight as possible, because it can get stale. It can dry out and get too hard. And sometimes no matter how long you cook old rice, it won't soften enough. And so keeping it stored airtight, cool, dark, and dry helps your food last the longest. Rice can last for 30 years. And so you don't have to eat your 100 pounds of rice every single day starting today. You can though, and it's good to incorporate it into your regular meals so that you are familiar with it. You're using, rotating, and replacing it. Plus, there are so many ways to cook rice. It's very versatile. People eat it all over the world. And so there are many, many recipes, many ways to prepare rice, to change the flavor and make your meals interesting. Plus, it's inexpensive, and so it can stretch, say, meat meals. You can serve them over rice, and then it helps your food go farther because you're getting filled up on some of the other carbs instead of just needing to be full of just meat, which is getting to be very expensive. So learning ways to stretch our food helps our grocery dollars go farther and allows us then to have that extra money in our budget to add to our prepping supplies. So if you've been wondering about rice, how much should you buy? How should you store it? Can it go bad, and how can you inspect it? Hopefully this video answered those questions for you. I hope you'll leave it in the comments below if you have any other ideas about rice that we would like to know. I hope you'll like my video, share it, and please subscribe to the Alaska Granny channel.